Yazzo. Everybody, Yasmin's in a bad mood and doesn't want to do this
I'm
now.
not in a bad mood. You're a fucking drainer.
Why am I a drainer?
Just move on.
It's not a very funny start to the video, Yazzo.
And you think you've hidden all the stuff over there.
Come on, man.
It's not
and you
hidden.
Shut the door.
The door's not a problem.
Fine, I'm leaving the door open. Yasmin doesn't want the video to look nice, so let's just throw everything in the shit tin and let's just move on, shall we? That's it.
Yes, we should move on.
All right, I've had a bit of a tantrum. I'm sorry, I'd like to apologise. It's probably because I'm starting a video with fucking tea instead of scotch. Anyway, we had a realisation. Realisation? No, probably not a realisation. We decided recently that we didn't want to buy bread from the supermarket anymore. Just the normal sandwich bread, not, artisan sourdough epicness, which we also make, and you can research on. I'm going to put, in fact, what episode it was up on the screen, and you guys can have a look at our sourdough bread, which is epic. But what we wanted to reproduce was supermarket bread. Bread that is soft and squishy and easy to put in sandwiches, and it's not crusty and the kids won't complain and all of that shit. So I spent a lot of time, I think is fair to say, Yazzo, with her getting super pissed at me, making failed experiments until we came up with this bread that works every single time, as long as you do the steps verbatim and don't fuck around with it, essentially. So, the ultimate sandwich bread, which in part 2 of this will become burger buns as well, and I'll show you how to do that. But for this one, we're just going to do the loaf bread. So, KitchenAid. Yazzo, put this on here. And I'll kind of go a bit sideways, maybe, Yazzo. Lock that in. First off, 500 grams of flour. This is white flour. You can use any flour you like, multigrain, wholemeal, doesn't matter. It's got to be bread flour though. Bread flour, it's a higher protein than all-purpose. Don't skip that bit. Put that in. To that, 1 teaspoon expertly measured of salt. Pop that in. Now you just want to give this a swizzle around in here because salt and yeast don't like each other too much, and we don't want to kill the yeast, so just swivel that around. Perfect. Into that, we're going to go in with 170 grams of tepid, lukewarmy water, definitely not hot, like just when you put your finger in, it's like, oh, that's not cold. That's how hot you want it. It goes in. And 130, did I say grams? I meant mils, 170 mils of water. And 130 mils of milk. We want a pair of scissors, is what I want. There we go. Yoink.
Oops, I didn't get that on camera.
We want 8 grams of dry active yeast, 2 teaspoons-ish. It's 8 grams of dry active yeast. We'll pour that in.
You said to follow the recipe verbatim.
Are you trying to piss me off or what?
I think that's what that means.
Okay, 9 grams, 7 grams, 10 grams. It's not really going to make that big of a difference. 2 teaspoons of yeast.
Or 1 sachet.
Or 1 sachet. And that is a major thing that can go wrong. Please, if you've got yeast at home, check the expiry date, because if it's not active anymore, your bread's going to be a total flop. I took the sugar away because I was filming the start.
That's good.
That's not sugar.
Oh my God, hurry up.
2 teaspoons of sugar. Like levelish, not too much. And then that goes. Perfect. All right, so, pop that aside. Dough hook. Pop that on. Twist it on, put this down. Now start, come in nice and close. Maybe come around this side, Yazzo, I reckon.
Anything else, mate?
She's such a whinger. All right, so we'll start this off on a slow speed, just to get that mixing. Be cinematic, Yazzo.
No, you do it.
There's so much whinging. So just until that starts to come together. Once it has come together a little bit, then you start to add the butter in. 50 grams of, I'll put that back in actually, 50 grams of butter, and just start on a slow speed, just whisk in the butter. I've got 50 grams which is softened and into little cubes, and just add that after the mix has started to come together. And once it's come together and you can't see the butter anymore and it's kind of incorporated in, now we increase the speed a little bit, and we want to do that for about 5 minutes. All done. So the end product that you should get, you can see that this is really smooth and it's not sticking to my hands. It feels sticky. You can see how tack that is on my skin, but it's not sticking to me at all. If I mold that into a ball, you can see that that's not really sticking to my hands. That's the consistency of dough you're looking for. And that's that. Rest now for 2 hours in the bowl covered until it doubles in size, and then we'll get on to the next bit. Just a side note while that's resting as well, depending upon what flour you use, you could find the need, once it's mixed in, to need to add a little bit more water or a little bit more flour. It may be a little dry or a little wet. If that happens, that's fine, but go very, very slowly with what you add, because you can very easily end up in this cycle of add flour, add water, add flour, add water. Just add a tiny little bit more. You'll be surprised how far it goes. Let it mix in, and then test it again. But it's not uncommon if you change from white flour to multigrain, for example, which I do, the recipe might need to be adjusted a little bit. And even from the beginning, if your white flour might be different to the white flour that I'm using. So use the recipe as a base, and then work out for yourself based upon what brand you buy to the amounts that you need to use. All right, 2 hours down, we're ready to go now. This thing's doubled in size, as you can see. So what you need is a high-sided loaf pan. I'll just give you a look at this guy. So this is a little bit bigger, a little bit higher than your average loaf pan. I think it's about 5 inches. And you want it to be a bit higher so that you don't have that mushroomy effect as the dough rises, where it comes out of the top of the loaf pan and then balloons out, because then you're going to get that sort of bread shape that goes up and around, and I don't know. I don't particularly like it anyway. So what we want to do, I've got a couple of pieces of baking paper here, and I'm just going to, you don't really need to grease the pan. if you're using baking paper like this. So you just put one piece this way, and then I've got another piece that I've cut long ways, and just lay that in like that. And then the dough will just sit directly on top of it. All right, little bit of flour on the bench. And all we're gonna do is just peel this thing out of here with our spatula. Now it doesn't matter if you degas it a little bit, because it's gonna rise again for another 2 hours now, but you wanna keep some of the air in it so that it keeps it nice and light and fluffy. There we go. A little bit of flour over the top. And what we wanna do is just press this out into a long, so we want it this way, the width, we want it about the same length as the loaf pan. Just press that out like that. So you get, I guess it's kind of like a 35 centimeter by 20 centimeter rectangle, kind of, sort of. There we go. And what we want to do is just roll this up like that. Just tuck it in on the sides. That's it, that's done. Don't fuss with it too much. And we'll just sit that on top. Just like that. Perfect. Just a little bit of flour over the top, so that when I cover it with cling film, it's not going to stick. I'll just cover this with cling film, and just kind of loosely, you don't want it tight, because you don't want the dough to stick to it, and you want it to be a little bit flexible as it rises up. So just press on the outside with your fingers so that there's no air getting in, but you want it to be a little bit flexible so that when it hits the top, it's not going to stick. Which we floured it, but just to be sure. And that's it. 2 more hours approximately. Basically, when the dough just starts to touch the cling film and it's sort of bursting out the top of the pan, assuming you've got a nice high-sided pan like this one, that's about when you want to get her in the oven. So once you see that dough coming up to the top, then we'll preheat the oven to 190 degrees Celsius, and the bake time is about 25 to 30 minutes. We're ready to go here. Oven's preheated to 190 degrees. Let's get this guy in. I'm loving your pajamas there.
I knew you were going to say something.
Well, it's...
I don't live to impress you.
That's a
It's
lie.
not how this works.
That's a lie, and you know it. All right. This is all cooled down. I did forget to say, by the way, unless you're going to eat the whole bloody thing, don't cut it while it's hot, because the steam as it escapes kind of ruins the texture somehow. I don't actually know scientifically why, but it does fuck it up, so don't do that. Let it go cool first before you use it. This has turned out great. You can see it's quite squishy, which is what we want from sandwich loaf bread.
Duk it.
I suppose. No, it doesn't duk.
No, but like it, that's the right sound, right? Hollow duk.
Yazzo with the technicalities. All right, let's give it a little cut. Give it a little slice. Wow.
Looks legit.
Now you can see how squishy soft that is. Lovely. It's very nice. I'm gonna put some lead back on it.
Just name drop the butter. So dang.
Got a little bit of
No, thank you.
bread, Yazzo.
It's too late.
It's great. So beautiful. Now, I actually bought 2 of these and I never opened the second one. I've been using the same one for ages, and my mother-in-law pulled the string out of it. Well, at least we're blaming my mother-in-law. I'm actually not sure whether poor Anna did it or not, but anyway. So let's talk storage. I have a reusable cloth bread bag here. I'm going to open it. We'll open it up. And it's a, what is this, calico or whatever the hell this is? An earth bag. And you just keep it in here. It has a drawstring. This one has the drawstring. And you keep your bread in here and it keeps it nice and fresh. I do recommend though, when you store it, that you put the bread in the bag and store it cut side down like that. That's what I would recommend, and just give it a little pull on the drawstring and store it like that. That's how I would recommend it. It does tend to keep it fresher. You could just reuse a plastic bag from the supermarket if you want to. That would work just fine too, and it wouldn't need that to be so particular, I suppose, but that will keep it much fresher. The other thing to know is that it has no preservatives in it. You saw everything that went into it, of course, so it doesn't last as long as supermarket bread, and nor should it. The payoff between preservatives and how long it lasts for. So we don't have the preservatives and the nasties in the bread that we've made, but it doesn't last as long. You probably get 2 to 3 days out of it with sandwiches, and then if there's any left over, you've got to toast it. But basically, I'm making this 3 days a week, probably, with what we do here. As you saw, total actual work time is 10 minutes, and start to finish is 4.5 hours, including the baking. So, well worth it in my opinion, and I feel better eating it. Although we do eat more bread, probably Yazzo, because that's just kind of sitting there. And anyway, Yaz has given me the wind up, so I'm going to go now. Cheers, make it. Let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next one.